You're waking up in the morning, and every year the year starts and you want to save 100,000. And the year comes to an end, you have minus. The following year, you want to save 50,000. The year comes to an end, you have minus. One day you wake up in the morning and you've gone to those keshas where they talked about faith like that of a mustard seed, and you say you want to save 1 million. The year comes to an end, you have nothing. You're frustrated. Today, ladies and gentlemen, allow us to talk about one thing. I want to help you reach that objective or that goal that you wanted to reach. If it's 50,000, you're going to reach it this year. If it is 1 million, you'll reach it. I want to give you the strategies of how to save this money, because I know you can save this money, whether you're kidney or you're Ndekni. My name is Jobiese. I'm a finance consultant, I'm a speaker, and an author. Strategy number 1, create a comprehensive budget. In this budget, make sure you have a goal. What is the goal of this budget? I want to save 1 million. So you want to save 1 million? That's fine. So number 2, what is my income? Check on your income. Number 3, what are your expenses? Look at your expense. Put your savings, put everything. But at least at the end of the day, you want 1 million. That's number 1. Let's go to number 2. Check on what we call expenses. So I want you to cut down unnecessary expenses. So you're getting 50,000 and expenses are going for 30,000. So what is unnecessary in your expenses? In other words, what can't you work with? There are things that you can work with. You can decide to cut down on your airtime. Reduce the number of calls. Have SMSs. Have short message services. Yes. You can decide not to use airtime to call. You can use WhatsApp to call. You're cutting down on airtime. So you cut down on unnecessary. Cut down on unnecessary. There are people that call you for parties. You can decide to do away with that. You have a car. You can decide just to use public service. Do away with that car of yours. Or decide to use your car maybe on very serious occasions like family occasions. Number 3, increase your income. You're looking at your income, and one thing I'll tell you is, inflation keeps on rising. The cost of living keeps on rising. Purchasing power keeps on doing what? Keeps on going up or going down. Like, in other words, you are buying maize flour at 50 shillings in January. In December, you're going to buy it at 70 shillings. So it means the money is losing its value. So that therefore relates or translates to you making sure that you have added what? Increase your income. So if you're getting 8 to 5 employment, you're being paid 50,000, you can decide to venture into something else. If you're having a small car, or if you're having your own car, fuel efficient, you can decide to do digital taxi services, carry people. You can decide to sell kahawa every morning. You can decide to sell some beans or some maize in the evening. You can decide to open some small shop for your wife so that you increase your income. You can decide to open some pool service. You can, if you are in sports like me, you can decide to do personal coaching on the weekends or personal training services on the weekends. So make sure at every cost you have increased your income. Then number 4, automate savings. Sometimes it becomes funny because, not funny as such, sometimes it becomes complicated. Because most of us decide first when money comes in, we want to pay our debt. After we've paid our debt, then we budget. After we've budgeted, then we decide that what remains goes to savings. But sorry, ladies and gentlemen, what you need to do, when money comes in, the first person that has to be paid is savings. If it is 10% or 20%, take it to savings. But of course, I tell Christians, pay tithe. 10% is for tithing. After tithing, now you can take 20%, put aside for savings. Then with the 70%, budget with 70%. So in a 70%, you can decide how to pay debt. You can decide how to... We talked about cutting down unnecessary expenses, cut them out, only pay the fixed ones or only pay the needs, and then do what? And then spend the rest. Part of automating also, automating helps those people who do not have self-discipline. You can also decide to have a bank account where you don't withdraw your money anytime. You can decide to withdraw your money after every 3 months. So that helps you get the discipline of doing what? Of saving your money. Or you can decide to put your money into a circle where you tell them, we are going to withdraw after the end of the year. Or when I get 1 million. And you tell them, when I come here, even when I'm crying, don't give me my money. So that can help you, and you sign some form. That will really help you a lot, and then you will grow as a human being. Number 5, which is key, it's called lifestyle adjustment. Lifestyle adjustment is key. If every weekend you used to hang out with friends and you're drinking 10,000, that must stop. That must stop. You can say to go meet your friends, but just take water Del Monte. You don't do expensive drinks. I didn't tell you to go for Changa if you've been using whiskey, but I'm just telling you, decide to put things aside, because at the end of the day, there has to be lifestyle change. If you're going holidays in Comoros, you can decide to go for holidays in Mombasa. You can say to be a local tourist. You don't need to be an international tourist. If you're doing very expensive dinner, you know that people who have to go to dinners every day, every Friday, they have to go out with their wife. Instead of going to eat hen at 5,000 shillings, why don't you go buy that hen around the street at 2,000? Cook the hen and eat with the family, the whole family, and you guys will enjoy it. So start cutting down on your lifestyle. Sometimes it is very important. If you have subscribed to a gym and you're paying like 10,000 shillings, you can decide to do with that subscription. You can decide to unsubscribe, such that now what do? You start doing push-ups in your house. You do push-ups. Push-ups in your house. You run around, you walk. It helps you. You can decide to take water, put water in 500 ml bottle, and you can decide to use them as dumbbell. That is very important, because at the end of the day, you must cut down on lifestyle. And then also, why do you go to the gym? You go to the gym because you want to cut down weights, then do a lot of water, do less of sugar, and do more vegetables. It is as simple as that. And have peace of mind, because that will help you achieve that. Number 6 is what we call debt management. There are people who want to live not a life that is not theirs. They want to make other people happy. They want to enjoy being called a king and chairman. So if you do not have money, live within your means. Don't go take loans. Don't go take debt to make people happy. Because I'll tell you, there are people that if, let's say for example, they don't have money, they'll take their laptop, they'll take their assets, they're going to give somebody called they're these guys whom you give your assets, and then they give you. They're actually auctioneers, and they're very expensive. They're very expensive. Most of them give you loans at 20% per week. That is 7 days. The 8th day becomes 40%. In 1 month, you've lost your item. So do away with that. Do away with that. And if you're having loans, pay off the most expensive first. Remain with the cheap loans. It is possible. Make sure you are a member of a SACCO. SACCOs give loans very cheap. But again, do you need debt? So make sure you've managed your debt effectively and efficiently. That is very important. Number 7, what we call emergency fund. You know, sometimes in our country, health becomes very expensive and uncertainties come. So to hedge yourself, make sure you have some insurance fund, like you've taken some premiums. If that is not possible, have an emergency fund where you've put some money. You can put 1 million emergency fund or 50,000, so that if something comes, something can be you've been retrenched from your work, things have not been working, you're an accident. You know, sometimes shit happens. And Murphy's law say that if it must happen, it will happen. Like if something has to happen, it will happen anyway. So make sure you have an emergency fund. Emergency fund will really help you out if things become not normal. Like when we had COVID, so many guys lost their employment. If you had an emergency fund, it will still give you time to think. It will not put you off balance. An emergency fund, sometimes it's you look at we said you draw a budget, look at your income or your expenses for 3 months. So that 3 months should be part of your emergency fund. If expenses have been 150,000, then make sure you have an emergency fund of 150,000. So that if something comes up, you are able to take 3 months to try and understand and see how to adjust very fast. Last is financial consulting. It is important to get a friend. It is important to get somebody whom you can ask issues to do with finance, issues to do with budgeting, issues to do with savings, and that is where we come in as CPA Richard Jobiese. Thank you so much. God bless you, and make sure you give us a call.